July of last year to this time. I invite to the podium the Vice Secretary, Elder Dr. Patrick T. Asante, to deliver this.
Amen. Thank you so much, Papa. Before I go on the report, there's somebody's ring here, wedding ring, and I just can't read the name inside it. There's a name inside it, but I can't. Somebody's wedding ring is here. So you see me and then you get it. Thank you so much. Somebody here, somebody's asking whether it's gold or something. Some covetousness is entering the house. Let's go straight to the report. So this conference report for 2024-2025. And similar to what the moderator did, I'm not going to read everything verbatim. There's some I'm going to just explain, then we move quickly from there. So the Conference of the Ghanaian Presbyterian Churches in North America held its last Delegates Conference at United Bethel Presbyterian Church in Maryland for the period June 22 to 25, 2023. The progress on resolutions were reported during the Asempatre 2024. So the Asempatre was hosted in New Jersey, as we know, Atlantic City, from June 27 to 30, 2024, by United Ghanaian Community Church, PA, Pennsylvania, or Philly. The keynote address was delivered by Reverend Cooper C. Wright, the vice moderator in Philadelphia. She centered her message on the theme, Come and See, coined from the story of the Samaritan woman at the well. She stressed on how the encounter with Jesus revolutionized the evangelism ministry and stressed that evangelism without justice is not good news. This report that we are reading, therefore, covers the stewardship of the current executives from July 1st, 2024, up to the beginning of this very conference, which is June 26, 2025. This report covers the key resolutions during the Asempatre conference, accomplishments within the year, proposals that what was proposed during the conference, or what the conference proposes or intend to do going forward. The 4-day conference there resulted in 5 key resolutions which are noted below. 1, the North American Conference cloth and other articles of worship were presented by the executives. It was accepted and then approved by the delegates. The delegates of the North American Conference resolved to change the title secretary to clerk. The issue has been referred to the Constitutional Review Committee to define the functions of the office, and the same is applicable to the rest of the executive offices except that of the moderator. As moderator pointed earlier on, moderator's office is well defined, the roles, but not the rest. And so the review committee had that assignment to work on. Delegates also approved the appointment of Reverend Mark Otain and Pastor Liz LaRose as chaplains for the youth, YPG and JY. The term of office and responsibilities of the elected chaplains were referred to the Constitutional Review Committee once again. The committee has met and sent proposals for review by conference delegates. The moderator announced at the 2024 Assembly that the 2025 Delegate Conference will be held in Canada, and the exact location of church was yet to be determined. Since we are meeting here, it means it was determined somehow in between the time. Some actions were taken there. The fiscal year financial report for both USA and Canada were presented and approved by the delegates. And so we did approve the financials and accepted it. Something similar might be happening this year too. Some accomplishments. Several themes emerged from deliberations, with notable ones, notably a shared commitment to focus on working in unity, love, commitment to evangelistic actions, go beyond the Ghanaian barriers, make use of technologies like social media, continue to participate in evangelism within the conference. When I'm reading and you see some small typos and something, please do forgive. When we ask to receive things to go for publish, it takes too long. It has not come. So we got things all together, sent for publication, and we came here. So we are all seeing it now. And so we didn't get it to edit it for printing. So when you see these small minor things, it's because edits didn't happen and some things missing. So when I say something is not right, that's the reason. Mission and evangelism. The moderator represented the conference at the Ghanaian Mission Network Conference, which CGPC is a partner. The conference was held during October 9th to the 13th, 2024. This conference follows a 3-year cycle, 2 times in the United States and 1 in Ghana, for member churches and organizations doing missions in Ghana. Conference organized Keswick for November 18th to the 23rd, 2024. And the guest speakers were Evangelist Dr. Abofe and Reverend Dr. Yafosu Ayakwa. We have the team and other things there. I want to skip that and move on. Those have been talked already by the moderator. We are bringing some things to your attention. And please, this very first point that I'm reading, I want to acknowledge and apologize that I've heard some names did not appear. The reason being that no report has been received from Delaware Church. I was there, so what I observed and what I remember is what I put down the names. No letter from Delaware for me to report on their behalf. So if there was any thanks, they would have done it themselves. And so if it doesn't show up, I mentioned the ministers because I could record them. So it's not intentional to omit anybody. The vice moderator, Elder Cecilia Appiah-J, the treasurer, U.S. treasurer, is Elder Efue Jatin, and the assistant secretary, Elder Patrick Tutu Asante, attended Reverend Brobe's ordination and installation at Delaware, which happened on October 12, 2024. Reverend Dr. Justice Ofosuhene, Reverend Dr. I have to learn and say these things because I have to do it and get it right. Let me get it right. The very Reverend Dr. Yao Frimpong Manson and the Reverend Mark Asiedu Frimpong. Again, the way they wrote it, they missed the map. I use the word respectively. I aligned their churches with their name, but it's mixed up there. But we know who we are talking about. They were there and many other people, but I could picture and I remember these individuals. It came to the attention of conference executives that Elder William Duncan of Reese Presbyterian Church, Atlanta, Georgia, had been in seminar over a year, and a decision was made to give him 2 years stipend as per conference requirement. A stipend is given for 3 years. Once again, you read the content, says it came to our notice. Things are not officially reported. It changes the conversation in the environment. You hear something and you have to put it in. If you can do things officially, it helps us smoothing things for all of us. The moderator sensed spends time to check in with ministers and pastors of the conference. He visited and preached at Olivet Presbyterian Church, Delaware, on August 18, 2024. He also visited United Ghanaian Community Church to thank the leaders and members of the congregation for hosting the 2024 St. Patrick, which was very well organized. If you were part of that group, and then you will be like those who were sent to go and spy the land. Everybody thought that thing was not going to happen. It was going to die, but I tell you, it's one of the massive and well-organized one. They deserve to be thanked and appreciated. Reverend Dr. Ofosuhene of Ramsey Presbyterian Church, Columbus, Ohio, also represented the conference or represented the moderator to pay an online courtesy visit to Reverend Apenti's startup church. And so he represented the moderator at that online. The annual New Year Leadership Workshop was organized via Zoom on February 22nd, 2025. And Reverend William Ameka provided an exposition on the theme, United in Heart, Unstoppable in Service, not Spirit. Unstoppable in Service. A lawyer from New York, a lawyer, K. Adoprempe, presented on the current immigration issues in the United States, its implications and safeguards. This was a timely response to the uncertainties around immigration in the United States. Three executives and many churches representatives joined the moderator to represent the conference at our brother Dr. Joseph Eko Otten's celebration of life. We remember when the people met us there, we were there in New York. He was not an ordinary member. He was not. There was an impasse, or there had been an impasse in the singing band leadership. This one I want to paraphrase, and I want to just throw light on it, so reading the whole thing. And so we were invited by the singing band leadership to attend their meeting. And then when we went there, they were discussing some impasse, something that they were trying to address. And then we were informed that they were trying to do it their own thing, so we should wait. And if they are not able to resolve, they will come to see to executive, which they couldn't. So they brought it over to have a meeting. And that meeting happened on March 11. Yeah. And so when the meeting happened, there were two sides. The facts, there were some little bit deviations in the facts. But assertions mean what they seem to believe together was that they all acknowledge the fact that they had decided to have a committee to work on the selection of the president. So they do have the president and they also have two vice. But the president seems to always be United States. So the Canadian group and the discussion was saying that how can't we all kind of rotate that position? So a committee was set to address that, to a way forward. And the committee did not complete its work. And then they were going to go into another election. And so that means it triggered that let us enforce and do that. So that's where the conversation came in. The Constitution is saying something. Those who were sent to go do work could not finish their work. Election is coming. What do we do? Do we just go ahead and do something? And that's how it came to our attention. And so upon many deliberations and back and forth on the subject matter, the moderator who was presiding the session, which is the executive committee then, and then those who attended, gave a summary that since there has not been a suspension of the Constitution, and then the facts, there are alternatives to the facts, but our sessions are almost pointing to the same thing. It's therefore difficult for you to rule on one thing. And so the recommendation is that you guys go to your conference. Once you get to your conference, you can vote. You have your power as delegate. Vote for your and then suspend the constitution. And then do whatever you want because it's your, and then you can put it back. But as he's sitting on the chair, he cannot help do that because the things are hanging. He cannot override, or we cannot override constitution. And that's what happened. And that issue, as I understand now, is still not resolved. The moderator has constantly checked in on the environment at the Ghanaian Presbyterian Church, Toronto, Canada, and has visited the church twice in 2024 and 2025. The moderator combined the above visit with his invitation to the YAF conference for May 23rd to 25th, held in Toronto. Some operating structures. There's a website we talked about, and it's still undergoing reconstruction. We do have a legal Zoom, was contracted, and then therefore we have an annual submission, and so they were supposed to submit that. Moderator can throw light on whether it has been done fully yet or it's still in there. I've gotten a thumbs up from our able elder Fujatin that it is completed. And I'm not using the word able for loosely. She works so hard. As part of the conference's resolve to work in love and unity, the moderator represented the conference at Reverend J.J. Kumidiodu's send-off. That we want to forge, and everything little we can do to forge the relationship. We've been doing it. The conference promoted an organization called Easy Water, which works in Ghana to provide clean and safe drinking water to remote communities. There are ongoing activities. Moderator has mentioned almost all of them: the mission and the evangelism, churches, fellowships, and ministries engagements, the inter-ministries relationship building with conference partners. A proposal is on the table to identify a day to celebrate, which is now a proposal on the table for you, the delegates. You have the authority to make that decision. June 2026, 2029 is set for Delegates Conference at Montreal. That's what I talked about earlier on, and we are here. And to fulfill the constitutional mandate, an elder, Georgina Appiah Kubi, was nominated and appointed from the church to join and has been serving with us to organize this meeting that you are having today. A retreat for conference ministers and their spouses was planned to precede this delegate conference, and it did happen. We look into the future. Our future has not changed that much. Our future is similar to somebody who wrote a midterm exams and scored 100, and the same question was repeated in the final exams, and he had forgotten. So he wrote it and said, "Sir, my ideas have not changed. Go and use my midterm exam." And so these things have been said there last year, read it, it have not changed. That's where we are marching, that's where we are leading. And so we have the same thing as we look into the future. These are the teams we do believe that if they are strengthened, could take our union into a better future. And that is the end of the conference report.
Thank you for that report. If you can, I think, move, and then we'll look for a second. We need it to be accepted as our conference report before we can deliberate, raise some of the issues. Thank you. That the conference report be accepted. Any second? Okay. So we accept it. Normally that's a little confusing. The thing is that if you have not accepted it, you can't make any changes with it. So we have accepted it. This motion was just to accept it. And then we will, when we have made amendments, we can ask that they be included when we go on. Okay. Yes. So all in favor of accepting this report, pending any changes, any further changes, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, this is accepted. Thank you. Now we go to, if there be any corrections, any things that somebody remembers differently, that we need to add. If you were there, if you're not at that there, you may not be, if there's anything.
Yeah, elections,
Okay. I think it was summarized. So if you, summarized. He didn't read verbatim, but definitely we will make the adjustments to that.
Papa?
Yeah.
If I hear him correctly, he's talking about the fact that the election has happened and you didn't hear it in it. Is that your point? Yeah, I think that's.
Okay. The truth of the matter is that we are yet to receive any report regarding the election itself to us for that to be added. So we will definitely include that if we did get the official report from the president. Yes.
This is Tony Yankee, Christ the King. My question is regarding under the key resolution for 2023-2024. The second bulletin says the delegates of the North American Conference resolved to change the title secretary to clerk. The issue has been referred to the Constitutional Review Committee to define that. If it's not been resolved, we didn't come to conclusion, then how come we've changed the position, the title to secretary, since it's not been resolved? Why shouldn't it remain?
It's opposite. Read it. It's opposite.
It says to change the title from secretary to clerk.
So we are still using a secretary right now.
Oh, okay. So it's the vice versa. Thank you.
It's the reverse, yeah. Thank you.
This is a follow-up to our brother's question. What is the difference? Secretary, clerk. Can you give us definitions and technicalities? How is it that suddenly a position should be given another name? Is it are they the same functions but a different name? And where does it come from? Bible, Book of Order, the Constitution? I'm new, so please, if you can throw some light on it for me.
Okay, I will do that.
Yeah.
Let me quickly say that this, our last Zimbabwe, this took about 2 hours to talk about this, and there was but simply put, they may have the same functions, but there are terminologies that some correspond to what we use as Presbyterians in our Book of Order. Our constitution, the constitution of this conference, originally calls that person who is the clerk or secretary. And then at one point, we realized that, the clerk is what is used by most of our churches. In the presbyteries, the local secretaries are called clerks. So then there was a need to think about how what we do here correspond to what we do in our presbyteries. So if your presbytery calls that person clerk, and then all around that there's a session clerk, there is a presbytery clerk, there is whatever clerk, and then we call our secretary, we felt that it needed to match what we know. That's why that change was being effected. So it's just the terminology rather than the attempt to change the functions. Yes. Yes.
So in simple terms, you wanted it to synchronize with what we use at our various churches.
Yes. Yes.
I think this guy had a tea in the morning.
Yes.
That's my boss. To align, to synchronize is very important word here. Thank you so much. Go for it, sir.
Okay. Yes.
We just want to find out how long will it take for the Constitutional Committee to come out so that this matter is laid to rest, because it's like it's still hanging and we're using the assistant or deputy secretary. It's still, if we want to, as my brother used the term, synchronize, let's just go ahead and conference accept it. Taking time with this issue of whatever it was. How long is it taking?
Thank you.
Where are they? They should let us know.
Thank you. Thank you. Moderator, I Googled and it says, while both clerks and secretaries perform administrative tasks, secretaries often have more client-facing responsibilities and may manage more complex tasks, while clerks tend to focus on more routine behind-the-scenes duties. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So thank you. Thank you. I know there are nuances in terms of the use, but for us, the most important thing for us was to, as he says, synchronize it with what goes on in our presbytery. So if we write something, a letter to the presbytery, your presbytery, as soon as they see clerk from it, they understand that. Then other than that, they have to interpret what a secretary means. Is it whatever board, secretary board? So that's why we wanted to do that. Now back to your question, your issue, somebody says constitutional issues work so slowly. If left to me alone, that very day we would have just changed it, but that's not how we do our things. Unfortunately, it has to go through the process, and the Constitutional Committee has to bring what they have changed here, and then we will read through, and then we will approve it, and then that becomes official. Then we will go back and change it in the Constitution. So there are one or two more steps to do before we officially. So since it became a contentious issue, we just reverted back to the secretary until we do this.
It's the right word. Not just big, it's the right word.
Yeah, Papa, just like you said earlier on during the moderator's address, there are certain things going on in the conference or certain institutions going on in the conference that are really not even in the Constitution. What of such is the Mamanum that you mentioned. So if we are able to practice such institutions within the conference that are really not stipulated in the Constitution, then if this makes, like you're saying, meaningful for us to correspond with our various presbyteries and stuff, then we can definitely adopt the use of the word clerk for the functioning of this conference than to really go to our St. Patrick and see what we saw, which was really a dent on our image as a conference. And I believe it has led to even us having this theme for this year. So please, I would like to make a motion that at this conference, we move as delegates, we just make a movement and just accept which one to move on. Thank you.
I
de ayi ne brɛ bylaws ne ade no ya kankan nti ebeto aba ne ya twa so ha nti yem follow yem mo procedure nti na mo de ba ehwe wo kan ne ya be hu se ba bia ya kyerɛ secretary de kokko bia ye ne clerk ne ade ho ohune nti when ye hu no okay so de be ma ya hwe ne ewi ya to aba wo so mum ye fa secretaries non to ye be baba e kan ade ye be ye no ho enye motion
hold on.
Suggestion.
Hold on. I'll tell you what we're trying to do. The Constitutional Committee, if you read from the report, Constitutional Committee has brought the changes. So it has to come before. The only thing I was waiting for, normally when the committee has finished its work, there should be one of the committee members who come here, and then when we present it, when there are questions, they will answer the question. Dr. Sino is the convener, so I thought he was going to be here. He sent us the changes. But I'm looking around, he's not here. I'm consulting with the other members of that committee. So this will be something we will deal with, but we're taking one after the other. So you can't just, by a simple motion, do that, unless the Constitutional Committee we charged to go and do the work will come and say, these are 1 or 2 and 3 things that we want you to change. Then we will vote on it, and then that is done. So that's where we're going. Yeah. Now, yes. Is it on the constitution, or you want to add something?
Young kudos.
Yes.
But a team at the together in a room. Young kudos. But young kudos, I said, my by say, I drag you on Kakra. I'm a cophobia grass almost from Papa, a bit me I saw one and Sunday free aqua and Campacho.
Your phone is there in front of you.
So, Auntie, this is another man. This is single man issue now. Okay. Let's do it this way. Please, we want to make sure that this is how we want to make sure that we have corrections made so that we can release him, and then we have finished with that, and then we will take the issues and deal with the issues. So at this point, we're trying to see if there are any omissions, any corrections, anything that has to be added to that report, and then we close that docket on it, and then we take the main issues and deal with them. That issue which was raised, we will come up, we'll talk about it very soon. I don't think there are anyway, at this point, if there are any corrections, any things that you remember later, you can always send that to this, the Vice Secretary at asanteP@gmail. asanteP@gmail, and he will make those changes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The ring, don't forget it, else you can't get home.
So now we will pick on a few things. I want to deal with the constitutional issues are not part of this one. They are all, if you look at your brochure, it's there by itself. So we will have to read that one, get you to see what the changes are, printed, and then we can deal with that. Now, yes, those on social media, please cut it. This discussion doesn't go to YouTube. It stays right here. Okay. Now, singing band.